With the launch of Sputnik and Soviet gains in Eastern Europe, the United States becomes paranoid of the communist threat. This paranoia is highlighted by U.S. Senator Joseph McCarthy. And Joseph McCarthy would basically accuse people of being communist and put them on trial. Right? He had this power because of what was called HUAC, which was the House Committee of Un-American Activities. Right? This allowed the senators to put people on trial without probable cause, and it destroyed many people's reputations. The United States would be dragged into a second conflict. This is the Vietnam War. The history on this is that Vietnam was a French imperial territory. The French would try to reclaim their imperial empire following World War II, but they would have great battle inside France. The communist rebels forced the French to give up control. The French actually asked the United States to nuke North Korea, but we decided not to. But instead, we send in military advisors, which will escalate into the Vietnam War. And this war would drag on until the mid-1970s, and its legacy is a lasting wound on the American psyche about war in the 20th century. The Berlin situation has yet to be resolved. So in East Germany, it has ordered the building of the Berlin Wall. The Berlin Wall was to keep people, which was about 1,000 per day, for making the trip between East Germany and their jobs in West Berlin. To stop this, the East Germans erect a barrier between two halves in the city. This barrier, the Berlin Wall, was heavily guarded. Anyone attempting to cross it was shot by East German guards. Succeeded in slowing the flight of East Germans, but it became a symbol of communist brutality in Eastern Europe. Here are some very powerful images from Checkpoint Charlie to an East German troop running across and the legacy of the Berlin Wall. In 1959, Fidel Castro became Cuba's dictator. Cuba is a small island south of Miami, of Florida, and is very close to the United States. The United States tries a Bay of Pigs invasion, where we basically get anti-Castro troops that are in the United States to try to overthrow the government. The Bay of Pigs is a disaster. This situation leads to the Cuban Missile Crisis. In the 1960s, the United States government puts nuclear weapons inside Turkey, which is very close to Russian territory, and made the Russians very uneasy. The Russians will take the attitude that if it's good for you, then it's good for us, and they will establish missile bases inside Cuba. This will lead to 13 days, which brought the world to the brink of nuclear destruction. After the standoff, the U.S. agreed to remove missiles from Turkey and not attack Cuba, and the Soviet Union removed its missiles from Cuba. Here are two maps showing the nuclear range for the Cuban Missile Crisis. Here you can see the United States Turkey missiles, pointed to the heart of Russia. And in this map, you can see the Soviet Union's striking capability of the United States. This was a very, very dangerous time, and it led to an idea of what was called détente, which was the cool down of the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union never technically take up arms against one another, but they fight what's called proxy wars across the world, from Korea to Vietnam, the Suez Canal, to the Congo, to Angola. These are all proxy wars fought for control between the United States and the Soviet Union. As you can see in this map, it shows you the hot spots of the Cold War. There is Cuba. You can see it in Eastern Europe, into Indonesia, into Africa. This is a worldwide conflict of influence between the Soviet Union and the United States. Once again, the United States and the Soviet Union do not take up arms against each other, but instead have their proxies do so against each other.